The Pod Show by Beat Fact Music. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Go and hit Beat Fact Music. BEATFAKMUSIC. Hit that subscribe button. Also, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check it out. Now let's get to the show. So, NBA Finals is tonight, Game 1. Everybody's kind of just waiting for this. I know a lot of people are like, whatever, because it's not their typical teams in the finals. But if you know the numbers, the last 8 years in the Western Conference, there's been 8 different teams in the finals, which is parity. Something that Adam Silver and his constituents have been absolutely been cheering for the past few years, and they finally got it. And I think that's a good thing for basketball. And the player personnel and the way these players have evolved. Some of them are hungry. Some of them are just trying to get in themselves in the position to compete in the league. So shout out to those guys. And before I even continue, there's 4 Canadian players in the finals. Myself being a Canadian, there's 4 Canadians in the finals. So Benedict Mathurin, Andrew Neymar, of course, for Indy, Lou Dort, and SGA, aka Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for Oklahoma City. And this is just the beginning. And of course, we have an abundance of players in the league overall. And the evolution of basketball has helped this league. There's a lot of flaws in the NBA right now, but we're not going to get into that today. This is not about that. We're going to get into the finals. And this game tonight, I mean, Oklahoma City, their second appearance in the finals ever. Indy's been in there a few times. The last time they went, I think, was 2000 with Reggie Miller. When they played the Lakers, they lost in 6. So this is kind of a revolutionary type finals. You got 2 cities that are dying for something. Indiana, of course, basketball state. They call it the Hoosier State, looking for something. It's been a minute since they've gotten something. Oklahoma, usually when I hear Oklahoma, we're talking about the Sooners. We're talking about football. So this is something that is going to be intriguing overall. And I believe that this finals is going to be good. Yes, I picked OKC in 5, but things could change. Indy's got to do what they did in New York. They got to steal game 1. Can they steal game 1? Can they take game 1? Can they do this? Can they do that? So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be intriguing how this finals is and how this finals is going to go. But I believe that Rick Carlisle, if anybody could do something, and Tibbs too, if Tibbs had got to the finals, I would have said the same thing, because both these 2 coaches emphasize defense. And they're very, very strict on defense. Rick Carlisle, more a bench guy. Tibbs more relies on the starters and a couple of guys. Rick Carlisle has been to this situation before. Got to remember the 2011 finals against the Heat, which was a series I picked Dallas to win in 6 because I believed that Rick Carlisle had the personnel to win. I wasn't in this Miami hype. I thought it was pathetic. I still don't believe in super teams. Just ask the Phoenix Suns how their season went this year. They didn't even make the playoffs. Super teams are... They're no good. They don't exist as far as I'm concerned when it comes to winning basketball. And they're useless now. And there was a post-game comment by Miles Turner. If you get a chance, Google it. And he explains what is going on right now. And him being a 10-year veteran, 10 years on the squad, he understands that, this whole super team thing. He was part of that, playing against LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade and all that stuff. And then, of course, them going on to play Dallas, which they played Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle subsequently absolutely just systematically played a beautiful chess game against Miami. Dirk did what he had to do. J.J. Barea, Tyson Chandler, Jerry Stackhouse, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Brendan Hayward. Like, it was just a multitude of guys. He had a 9-man rotation. They were averaging 15-plus minutes a game, the bench. The starters, of course, 30-plus. So this is nothing new to Rick Carlisle. The only difference is this Oklahoma City team is not a super team. It's a simple old school basketball team. They got their superstar, but they have some great pieces around him that could also do their thing. And it's going to be interesting. You know, they got a coach that a lot of people don't know too much about. He's going to show you something. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good finals, although I picked OKC in 5. If it goes to 6, fine. I can accept that. But I just believe that this is SGA's year. I think this is his destiny, and I think that he's going to be able to do something special. This is the big stage now, you know. First appearance in the finals, MVP of the conference finals. You know, it's his opportunity. But again, Rick Carlisle experience, Pascal Siakam experience, you know. So there are guys that are coming into the finals that he's going to face with experience. But what OKC has in this finals is they got grit. This was the team that was built from 2019. And that trade I will never let go because I thought it was one of the dumbest things ever happened. And I know it was Kawhi's camp that did that. First, he ran out of Toronto. He wanted to go home. Fine. But then he got his team to make a trade that absolutely made no sense. It made absolutely no sense. I mean, Paul George at that particular time was at an MVP level. He was balling. Him and Westbrook were doing great things. But to give up all of that draft capital, I mean, that's something that you would have seen for Giannis or even Jokic. And you would see even way more than that. That's why the Luka trade surprised a lot of people. But it didn't surprise me because Luka, there's a lot of elements Luka doesn't bring to the table when it comes to defense and dedication to conditioning and nutrition and all that. But anyways, that trade set up OKC for where they are now. And the Clippers are a big part of this. And I think every Oklahoma City fan should thank the Clippers. And any other team that the Clippers has handed their picks to should be thankful. This is a typical classic Florida giving the Leafs a 6-piece. This is almost a 6-piece that the Clippers did in such a long period of time. You know, like the Clippers have given themselves 6 pieces. Well, I did say the Clippers they didn't give it no. The draft picks that they blew away has given them a 6-piece. And now they're sitting there wondering what's going on. Like, I mean, even the first round of the playoffs against Denver, they just were not even in sync. They weren't even in the building. In which we all know Denver went on to play OKC in the second round, which was a classic 7-game series, which was the biggest test for OKC, which we all expected, and the rest is history. But, you know, you look at this finals, it's going to be intriguing. It's going to be great. It's going to be something for the fans to enjoy and watch. And I have no quarrels of this. I would have rather my Knicks, of course, but it is what it is. And it's going to be one of those things. And I'll tell you this right now. This is where the NBA is going. This whole super team dynamic is over. Sacrificing draft picks, sacrificing this for a player like Kevin Durant is probably going to be traded this upcoming summer, and I would love to see what his value is going to be in the trade market. What team is going to be crazy enough to give up more than 2 or 3 picks? I mean, this is a value thing now. Kevin Durant at his his level is just sensational. One of the greatest shooters in the history of basketball. But if you're Phoenix, you messed up on this one. You're going to have to take what you get. So now you're going to have to rebuild around Devin Booker. You know, you had that right team concept when you had Chris Paul, and then you just completely just bamboozled it. Again, new ownership, right? Same thing with Boston. Boston's got new ownership. What do you think they're going to do with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum? Saw what happened in Dallas. New ownership. Goodbye, Luka. So we'll see how the structure of this happens, especially in the offseason with the way the luxury tax is working now and other factors. But back to the finals, I just believe it's going to be a good finals. I'm still picking OKC in 5. So for all you guys and fans out there and analysts and whatever watching this tonight, you're gonna enjoy it. We got 4 Canadians in there. We have an abundance of good young players. which is good. It's refreshing. It's refreshing to see young players in the finals. Like this is kind of the beginning of a new essence of basketball. Not basketball, but in more say an essence of something that's going to happen for the next 10 years. So it's good to see that. It was good to see the Knicks-Indiana rivalry continue, because rivalries are always good for sports too. Don't get it twisted. So, but on the other note here, before I close off this finals, finals day game one episode, I have to say this also, and I think this is very, very important. And it goes to social media, because one of the things that I saw, and I spoke about this on the podcast with the conference finals wrap up, about the social mediaites making their comments. So the socials, as I call them, firing, having coaches fired, their comments and crying and all that. For those people that saw that and were offended by it, that's the norm. These are people that don't have any basketball sense at all. They're not the ones that are going to sit in the room and assess the situation and say, hey, you know what? Like myself, I assessed the game. I watched it. I assessed it. I knew where it was going. And I understand why it was like. There was no emotion. It was respect for the fact that a better team won. And now you got to go back to the drawing board and, get it going again. The offseason begins now. So, you got a lot of people who use social media as their voice. You saw it last night on social media. And it's great, but when the reality comes out, they have nothing to say. They're nowhere to be found. And those are the type of people you don't worry about. What you need to worry about is believing what you saw and assessing what you saw. Now, there are some real fans that are upset about it and, angry and all that, of course, but you give yourself time to decompress and then move forward. So that's just the whole process of being a sport fan. But for me, it goes beyond that, because I've been on the side of playing, coaching, watching, mentoring, all the whole factors of basketball. So I think a lot differently from a general perspective. And then when I have these conversations with other people like myself, we have good conversations, but I also have good conversations with people who understand. They don't play, they never played, but their mindset, and it's always about the mindset. So if you have that mindset, understanding certain things from that perspective, you could have a conversation with anybody about basketball. But there are some that feel that, they need to be loud and they need to speak via social media and say the things that they need to say to, be heard, when you can't even hear a peek from them in person. So, but on that note, folks, this is game one. It's coming up very soon. And this is another edition of Unscripted 101. This is the finals. We finally got here. We're at the NBA finals. So OKC game one. Enjoy. As I always say, good wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Peace.